We just met Mr. McCall at the spey. Ready to set off. The morning of Camp 1. There's George over there. Stephen said he's got something to show me, so a little bit nervously opened my tent. There we go. We appreciate it a little bit more. Oh. So George has gone out and tested beyond the waves in his canoe. Definitely looked interesting on the way out. He's then managed a landing, but got sidewiped by another wave on landing, so lost a paddle. He's gone looking for that, but he's all right. So we're now separated. So we're by about kilometre or so of this. It's kind of like that along the coast for 13 kilometres, so it's okay out the back, but getting there you're kind of committed out the back of the waves, and then 13k to Lossiemouth and landing in the harbour. So yeah, I think we're probably going to call it for today. Steven, are you excited for your first surf lesson? Surf's up, dude. Lossy Harbour after an exciting landing. Now I had some nice breakfast coffee, and we've decided we're going to portage around the harbour rather than fight back out. Here's a little view of what the waves are looking like out there at the moment, and why we decided to trolley round. Found a lovely spot to camp at Lossiemouth. Stephen's just playing a first round or 9 holes of dog poo golf. So we're up at 5 this morning to make the most of the good, well, hopefully good or better and calmer sea conditions. Past 6, we're almost at Rosemarkie, about 55k. So we're on the way to Keswick Bridge after leaving January Point. Strong, nice, normally force 4, gust of 5, maybe at times. Making really good progress. Got some nice wind with the tide, get into the sail, and then you occasionally get a nice surf off the wave as well. Oh, and a bit of a splash. We brought to the legendary Gummy Goose. Right, that's us at the top of Loch Ness now. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. See if we can get this in the bag. It's day 6. We're just about to hop on the Lochie at lunchtime. The current situation is my magical repair tape is holding quite well, even though it's been poorly applied. And I've got another hole, so my sail is totally slowly disintegrating. George's wheel bearing is falling to bits, and his mast foot is slowly coming unstuck. Stephen seems to be doing alright.
Rude to expect you to do this bit.
Just getting some precision surgery. Situation at the moment. The mast foot repair has not worked. My tape repair has worked, but I've got a much bigger hole now. Whirly whirlies! Woo! Made it about 2 kilometres. Up towards Barrow Bridge. thought it. Tracking coming in handy. See what this baby can do. We are now at the old barrage. It's about 10 to 9 and we're fiddling boats through tiny gaps, and we're about to lower down a big slopey grassy slopey thing. Oh yeah.
But I think more or less straight down from there. Do you want me to get down the bottom or halfway?
Yeah, okay. What's that? Okay. Feeling a little bit sore this morning, but ready and raring to go for 23 kilometres up to Bridgewater Hotel, and then we'll see how we feel after that, but we might go all the way down towards Tindrum. The lure of fish and chips is calling. Only 10k to go, the fleet disintegrate. We are day 10, just started on the West Highland Way, 12k to Tindrum. Woo. So we've portaged nearly all the way up to Tindrum. Got this bit of a stinker to deal with just here. So we've got to carry the boats up and all the kit through there, but we're almost at the high point.
Are you having fun, Liam?
Oh, I'm having a great time, George, thank you.
Very good.
So we're almost done. Getting over the high point towards Tindrum. It's been pretty savage. So we're now in Tindrum. That took a lot longer than expected. Finally made it. This is less than ideal. Woo! We have reached the Canoe and we're finally getting onto some bloody water. So happy to be back on the river. Woo! sailing our way to the dockyards. The wind yet again paying us a favour. Thank you, wind! Just enjoying cruising along the docker in the evening sun, looking for somewhere to camp for tonight. Alright, it's day 11 and we're getting on to a damp day. Starting on the docker again, and it's forecast to piss it down all day. Last big portage as well. Yay. So we've now reached Stirling, the Falls of Docker, and we're about to do 15 kilometres more trolleying. It's about 150 metres up to go, and I think that all happens in about the first 4 kilometres. So having just been fed, we're now going to go for it. Stephen and George just getting ready here. The joys. We have finally reached Berwick after crossing over the Rob Roy Way from Stirling. About to get back on the water. Last big portage done. So, no more trolleying. That was different. We're now really that's gonna straighten it. Now 6:30 PM, raining still. Day 12. Goodbye to one of the worst campsites we've been in so far. We're at the top of the River Lenny. There's been quite a bit of rain last night, and I think we're gonna go for the trolley because we want to stay dry and we don't want to swim. And we want breakfast in calendar. Right, that's all the Lenny fun we get to have. Now up this steep brambly slope. You join us for some more trolleying in the wet gear, wet life along the Lenny. Stoke is not super high this morning. I think there's a few broken bodies as well. So we're just portaging around the Falls of Lenny. Hopefully get back on the river soon. I think we're going to go past S-Bends. Just too risky with all the kit and everything at the moment, so we're going to play it safe and drop in somewhere there, I hope. Woo. We are on the River Teeth on the way to Calendar, finally getting some gravitational aid once more. It's still very wet, but there's some good flows after a long drizzly night. and rain the night before, so can't complain. I can definitely smell myself pretty badly right now. Clean clothes and a shower is sounding very good, but it's still good to be on the river. So, my mistake before we were on the last of the garboosing, we're now on the river teeth after beans, pie and chips for breakfast. It's still very wet and cold, but it's not raining anymore, it's just the kit is very wet. But Teeth's got a good amount of water in it, pretty constant flow, should get an easy ride down to Stirling from here. This is so good. Since leaving Calendar, Teeth's got a nice amount of water in it, and we've just pretty much had cruisy flows, some nice grade 1-2 stuff, just firing on down, getting the mileage done. Still waiting for the sun to appear for this afternoon's kit drying fest. Everything's still quite wet. Cag is nicely dried out, but we're making good miles and the river's really nice. Nice big rampy weir, but it does look like sad wet times at the bottom. Go! So we are somewhere just before Stirling. We've decided to set up camp here. It's a bit of a shorter day, but we've had loads of long days back to back, and finally the sun is shining, so we're going to have an afternoon's rest. And also, big thing is wait for the tides and the 4th to play ball, and then we'll decide how we're going to get to Edinburgh tomorrow. But for now, sunshine and some kit drying. Not the most beautiful wild camping spot in the world, but right now it's sunny and things are actually drying out.
What's that?
Oh. Right, last day for me tomorrow. Last morning, for me at least. It's a pretty frosty one. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning, had some brekkie, taking down the tent, can't feel my hands, but looks like it's going to be a really nice day to start off with. 30k to Alloa, and I think that's going to be me. I'm on the 4th, which I'm really stoked about. It's just too much distance and easterly winds to reach Edinburgh.
this is why we do canoeing
Oh,
and
yeah.
not technology.
George, I've got an idea, and you went, oh shit.
Right, so after 4 months back in civilization, we thought it'd be nice to get back together and have a little bit of a reflection on our journey through Scotland trip. So we thought we'd talk about our high points, low points, favourite bit of kit, and would we do it again, and what's next. So I guess, George, do you have any high points of our trip?
When it stopped, that was really nice. No, that's not true. Loads. So the Murray Coast bit was amazing and had just about the right level of peril. I'm a simple man, so food was a big part of it. The breakfast at Killin was memorable.
I can't remember what's the name of the place, Stephen. Do you
It was either the Ptarmigan
It's
or
the
the
Capacaylee.
Capacaylee.
One or the other.
I think it may be the Capacaylee, actually.
Right.
Go to breakfast.
That was amazing. What about yourself?
I have to say, like, I'm probably with you on that day travelling from Lossy, waking up at 5, and just the light and the fact that we sailed for like 50,
We covered a lot of ground that day.
so
That
much
felt
ground.
nice.
I think doing 70 kilometres, like the only down bit of that day was having to take a wide berth around the shooting range and the temperature dropping so much. Like I think when we stopped briefly before the end, I just remember feeling like any of us could go hypothermic in 30 seconds here. I felt like
Trying quite hard, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely shivering with a storm cag and a belay jacket on over the top of it.
yeah. I also think probably another highlight was just the timing of, I guess, the wind. And even, it sounds mad, but just being at the Ore Barrage at 10 o'clock at night, lowering a boat into a gorge in the black, I think just seems so mental. But just like that itself is a highlight, even though I was absolutely knackered and everyone was super tired. But just the madness, I think, of that whole situation was probably a highlight for me as well. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I quite liked that day as well, actually. I know this is all going to sound a bit similar, but the Murray Coast is hard not to have a good day there. And I think because we had such like fantastic conditions, and this is a porpoise or a dolphin scene that day as well. We were going past Burkhead just after Burkhead. So yeah, that was pretty special. And yeah, I just love a bit of glutton punishment. So that day in the Ore, finishing on the Ore, was it 12 hours, 13 hours?
I think we did like 12, 13 hours. We certainly got to camp at like after midnight, I'm pretty
It's
sure.
like I kind of like getting into my sleeping bag and having this like smile on my face, thinking, yeah, that's a bit of a beast, and I quite like it.
I have to add on one more thing, and that's randomly is hot beef rolls. Just stopping at the Green
World's most expensive hot beef
Yeah,
rolls.
just going into the Green Welly stop and just being like, George wanting a hot beef roll. We were like, yeah, we'll get that. And it was just ladled beef into a white back with a handful of crisps. But
On the plus side, the £3 shower was, I think,
literally
the
just about to say that.
best £3 I've ever spent in my life.
the shower scene didn't make
From
the,
like
final
a
edit.
home comfort, that was actually a bit of a highlight.
The bath,
yeah.
at the campsite before the Pentland portage.
And I thought you said bar.
Yeah. Yeah, you were like, they'll be really disappointed it was a bar. And it's like, a bath? Oh, yes.
So I think what we're saying is if you have an ex-bed, you should find places to have a shower and bath on the way. Ex-bed hard, but find places of luxury on the way.
What about the low points?
Low points. I mean, we've only got so long to talk. haven't we?
So getting over the Pentlands and it not being as horrific as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be harder. And also, it felt, after we fixed the canoe, trolley, snappage, we thought, we're going to make it.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite a high point, that we were going to get to Berwick Upon Tweed.
Yeah.
I think we all probably know where my low point probably was. I'll probably let you guess. But it was certainly...
I mean, I try to think, actually. Was it
Well, I'm thinking it's when you said, we should camp here. And I went, we're going to camp here. And you went, yeah, I think so. We'll camp here. And I was like,
This was at the Lenny, was it?
I was at the top of the Lenny in like the floodland at the top, just trying to stay covert.
And I think I was fairly clear where my low point was as well, which kind of followed on from that night when I hadn't eaten enough, hadn't slept very much, had been a bit damp overnight, and then just had no fuel in the tank the following day.
I think that was probably day 12, wasn't it, or something like that? And that was after multiple days of big portaging. I don't think it would have, like, we couldn't eat probably enough by that point, I don't think, to combat.
It was when even the pie shop in Calendar wasn't enough to make me happy again.
Mine was probably just getting. The boat was getting quite frustrating getting over the railway section at Tyndrum.
Oh,
I remember getting a little bit annoyed.
I think we probably hit the two real low points there. Definitely like the portage into Tyndrum, but like just getting under the railway and over the top.
I think because my feet were quite beat up as well, and I was just like, oh, this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would.
I guess that is part of what I love about expeditions, is that you put yourself in stupid situations, whether it's lowering boats down towards the old barrage in the dark, or whether it's, okay, we've got this kit, how do we fix the broken trolley?
I think that's what I liked about doing the whole trip with you guys, and why I want to do it again with you guys, because stuff happens, but it's never a big deal. We just sort of laugh, deal with it, and get on with it. There's never like a full toys out of the pram, I don't think. It's just a moment of hilarity for two people and a real sadness for one person, but they soon come out of it once they're filled with hot beef and
some soggy crisps.
I'll let that wash it.
I guess, do you have a favourite bit of kit? And maybe if that's going to be boating related, do you have a favourite boating related bit of kit and a favourite bit of like necessarily canoe related bit of kit?
The one bit of kit I wish I'd have checked a bit better was my sleeping bag, because I actually get quite a cold chest every night because all the fails, there's no fails left in it. And I never really noticed until maybe a weekend, and I was like, why do I keep getting a cold chest? So I had to wear my beelie jacket like just straight over. But in terms of favourite kit then, obviously my socks. Not for walking in. But for
your sexy reed
socks. For keeping dry.
Oh, the gimp socks.
Because I dry feet every day because obviously the trousers leaking. But
little reed plug in there.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, man.
Oh yeah.
In terms of kit, I had kit envy. I had big kit envy when you took your dry trainers out of the bag to do the portage, and I was like, my feet are going to be in bits, and you're gonna so that was a really good call.
I think like that would definitely be my bit of like non-canoe kit. It sounds like if you're doing like any portaging of like with substantial amounts of it on a trip, is to have it's another pair of shoes to bring, but that weight difference.
So such a big trip, it's not that much.
It's not that much.
In particular, if you take like you're just like a lightweight pair of
like running shoes that are like semi decent. I think for that tarmac particularly,
because it's keeping your feet dry, isn't it? Like
no, I don't think so.
My favourite bit of paddling kit is probably my wooden paddle. It's been on every adventure with me. I had it for a really, really long time, and I bought it, and it was like, I don't know, 80 quid or something. It wasn't that expensive, and it's been absolutely beasted through everything. And it pushes and pulls and jabs everything, and it just keeps going. It's been great.
There's a nice bit of kit. I think it's like that wooden paddle, less stress on the body, nice in the hands, especially if you're going to paddle day in day out. Having like a good paddle that you're just happy to use for miles and miles and miles, and it's not too arduous on your body.
For me, it's not really paddling kit, but actually I had my favourite pair of winter mountaineering gloves, which I killed.
Saved your hands.
But my hands were not in bits at the end, and I would definitely sacrifice a set of decent winter gloves again for that.
Your beelie jacket must have been up there as well. I suppose for everybody.
I would have died without my belay jacket.
For me, it was actually necessary. You had to have a big jacket like that.
Yeah. I guess then I just thought what would be nice one is there anything because I think nearly all of our kit gets quite a lot of high status and importance. Is there any kit that you had with you thought, why do I have this with me? Was there anything you had? is there anything you had with you? You're like, why did I have this with me? Not like, was it necessary?
I had way too much food, so I had probably about 8 kilos more stuff in my boat than I needed. The fact that just before we went off to do the Penlands bit, I dumped however many days worth of meals, and I think I still had a bit spare at the end.
Yeah, and I guess that would come into play if it was like wilderness where we weren't in contact with any sort of humans or shops or anything like that, but we were pretty well fed. I think the whole being well fed was probably up there with super important. What would I do anything differently rather than would I have done any kit? And I think that was probably check all of my kit more thoroughly before, especially if I was going to do a trip again, finding out halfway. I'm glad it lasted on the sea, but my sail was pretty damaged, as it turns out, from the sun. And obviously, if it hadn't been for Stephen's girlfriend Rosie, lovely person, dropping me a spare sail, I would have been sailless, which I think was a pretty critical bit of kit.
3 boats with 1 sail.
3 boats with 1 sail would have been brutal.
I would probably make sure that I either had a newish trolley or I was really happy that because I had amalgamation of different parts of trolleys, and I was like, oh, they're all the best bits. But even still,
I think it's pretty hard, that sort of level of portaging that we were doing, picking a trolley that is going to take that level of punishment. And
also be light enough that you don't mind taking it.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and credit to all 3 trolleys. I mean, I know yours was somehow still hanging on, but it did still hang on. It maybe didn't make your portaging easier because there wasn't any air or sort of lubrication to it, but it worked, and even Stevens was squeaking nearly the whole time.
I wanted to come in on that when Stephen said his axle was wearing out. What told you that? How could you tell?
The senior thing is I love how much because normally that would drive me crazy, and it just eventually became a soothing sound. But you guys are like, oh, here's Stephen.
Would you do it again? And I guess for me, I'll feel that one is I would really struggle to do the same trip again because everything. When I look back at every day, we were so lucky. We made the change at the start, but to have the wind on our side along the Murray coast, down the Great Glen Way, all the way to Port Appin, and then have river levels that were nice, no flooding to deal with, but no dog low rivers to deal with, and generally, I would say apart from that last maybe 4 days of my bit was pretty dry and not frozen. So I that trip again, it would feel really hard to do it because it might sully the experience we had on that trip. I don't know what you guys think.
I think a big part of it for me is that it's kind of new terrain, isn't it? It's new experiences and dealing with new stuff, and obviously going to have different conditions. But as you said, Liam, that we had such amazing conditions. Every time we changed to a new direction, we tended to have the wind behind us. If we got onto a river, we thought, do we need more water in this? There'd be enough water in it, but it just seemed to work. And part of that's obviously the time of year that we picked. That's the kind of the wind directions, and you get a bit more water. But I don't think I'd do the same trip again. I'd like for the whole reason of just exploring new places. I would like to do a different trip.
Yeah.
I haven't. So I'm with you guys. I would be tempted to do. The original plan was to go from the north coast, and I'd be tempted to do north coast to Inverness just to join up the lines on the map. And it hasn't happened yet. I love looking at a map of Scotland and just picking out imaginary trips. Yeah. And nothing has jumped out at me in the last few months as a Scottish trip, but I'm sure it will.
Yeah. I think that leads on probably to the last and final question: is what's next, and do you think there's anything in the making at the moment for another trip?
I'm the same as George. I haven't had anything pop into my head, but usually I just need somebody with a beer and they'll say something, and it might be I remember chatting to Johnny about something. He said, "What about joining this into here? We could," and I just thought, "Wow, let's do that then." And it can just be as quick as that. Then there's a new trip started, so I'm sure something will crop up. But at the moment, for me, there's nothing in the pipeline. Yeah. What about you guys?
I think I'm the same as Stephen. I would definitely love to do something, and I think we'll undoubtedly come up with something over a beer. But to do something with you guys again, because I think it worked so well for us three, and everything we bring in our different wonderful ways to a trip. Like I would just want to do that again. But I guess in my mind at the moment, I love doing things in the UK because we have such, particularly Scotland, because we have such amazing ways to link bits of bodies of water together. But we have just linked up a huge amount, plus some of the other trips we've all done. So I wonder whether it's looking further afield, potentially to somewhere in Scandinavia springs to mind.
Scandinavia is definitely somewhere I'd love to go.
There are some amazing looking Norway to Sweden crossings which do look. There you go. So that may have been the moment where the next level of suffering begins again. Well done. Step up a level.
Should we go and get 4 cans of beer and just plan it?